but we're going to do it anyway. Are you ready?
Yep.
Listen, this is the Image Profile Report, and I'm your host, Herb Glenn. This day is the 27th of May, which is a Wednesday, and we have today with us a special guest. He's Joe McCallum, who is the city councilman here in Newark, New Jersey. And everyone has his or her own fingerprints, and Joe McCallum is no different from anyone else. He's probably the only one on the city council that has a resume that reads like a history book. By far, he's probably the longest one on their website. But he has been a pioneer in his way into being one of the most celebrated public servants in the history of the city. Please join me in welcoming Councilmember Joe McCallum to the Image Profile Report. Thank you very much.
How are you, Herbert? Glad to be here.
It's really
yeah, we rushed here to make sure that we got on, and happy to be talking to you and
well, listen,
to your audience.
Let me begin by thanking you for your service.
Thank you.
As I understand it, you are an Air Force person, and you've been in the military, and you've had an extensive obligation to serving people. Your resume has so much in it, and I want to try to cover as much of it as possible. After you really got out of the service with your telecommunications background, you started doing some technical work. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, I actually was an auto mechanic.
Mm-hmm.
I got out and I was looking for a career, and I went to Lincoln Tech. Graduated there, then I was working for Goodyear, actually the one over on West Market Street by Bethany Baptist Church. Yeah.
And then you continue to move forward and get involved with doing humanitarian work, I would say. You got tired of working on the machines, huh?
Yeah. After a few years of that, there's nothing like being an auto mechanic in the winter, handling those cold iron steel tools. And I said, let me go back to school. So I had went up to the VA. I had got a job at the VA hospital in medical administration. And while I was doing that, I started Essex County on Veterans Upward Bound program. And I just went. I ended up from there going to school for 10 years. But working at a medical administration, once I was in school, then I had became a licensed clinical alcohol and drug counselor, then addictions therapist, because I had kept going and got a licensed professional. I became a licensed professional counselor, and I was still working at the VA, getting promoted. And what happened, I had ended up getting a master's in public administration with a concentration in health services. And I did that because I was looking to be able to have the opportunity to be a director of the hospital. But I kind of hit the proverbial, what do they call it, the proverbial ceiling. And I went to work for Booker. I had started volunteering on campaigns just out of concern for the city. I was working at East Orange, Lions VA, all the VAs. I would go, work out at different VA hospitals. And I started working on Cory Booker's campaign in 2006 because I believed in what he was doing. Nothing against Mayor Sharp. I just thought 20 years is a long time for one person to be in office. And so, one thing led to another. I left the VA. I had an offer from the Booker campaign to work in emergency preparedness at the health department. So I took that position, and long story, one thing led to the next, and I ended up being an aide for Councilman Rice. Councilman Rice left after, I was with him 3.5 years. He left 2000, it was 2014, he didn't run again. So I was approached by Senator Rice and some other folks, Rufus Johnson, about running for the West. I had never really thought about running for office, but I'd always been a public servant. So I ended up running, and fortunately, I was blessed enough to win.
And it's incredible because you didn't come out of nowhere, and you really put a lot of effort, especially in your background working with people.
Right.
The idea of wanting to get involved with the mental health aspects
Mhm.
of it and developing a extensive background, as a mental health clinician at UMDNJ. Did that really bring you to a consciousness of knowing how important it is to really be a servant for the people?
Yeah, that's funny. When I was in junior high school, I volunteered for a couple of summers up at the old Southwood Boys Club. I would be a counselor for young kids. I was like 13 myself, and so I don't know. It was instilled in me at that point, and I made a conscious decision. Everybody can't go for money. I could have studied finance, business administration, or but when I was going to Fairleigh Dickinson working on my master's, the MBA classes were in the same building up in Madison. And I had made a conscious decision. I wasn't going for the money. I don't want to sit at a computer, watch stock exchange, or I don't want to be controlled by money. So it was a conscious decision that I wanted to work with people. And I found out that that's the most joy that I got out of, my life is working with veterans as a veteran and seeing them come in broken down and actually gaining their trust and bringing them back into society as good husbands, good brothers, good, or even good sisters. A lot of female vets, and that's just been my goal. That's what satisfies me is helping others.
And it created a good spirit. I mean, from the first time that you and I met, there was no real brick walls, I would say. We were able to bond very quickly, and
Right.
you're a very approachable person. Having a career in politics can change an individual, and you've been around for a while, and
Mhm.
we've been able to see how you can be able to manifest putting together a good organization to help support your efforts. How has it been in relationship to working in a community that pretty much is almost at the peak of the poverty level when it comes to the different wards in Newark?
Ooh, I don't even know if I can explain that. It's a tough job. In the West Ward, they have a lot of expectations of the representative, and I'm a person of the people. Everybody has my cell phone number, so it's sometimes it's rough. I do get overwhelmed, but I try to stay prayed up, and I have a lot of support. And even with that, Rutgers University and this organization and that organization, they're always willing to work with me. And they call me because they can reach me, and then I'm going to try and get it done. But it is a lot, and if anything about this pandemic gave me a chance to catch up and rest, and work on the spirit and work on being by myself. Though I do get a lot of phone calls, I am on the phone directing things. Like I just left the site testing site for COVID-19 that we just started today up at UVSO preschool up on Irvington Avenue. Tomorrow I'm at the senior building on 545 Orange Street. We're delivering food to residents every Thursday with Greater Newark Conservancy and Rutgers, and we deliver like 100 meals to seniors that live in homes, not in the senior buildings. So I'm able to really get a lot done, even being home in the pandemic. Even though I am quarantining, but when I have to go out, I go out and do what I have to do.
Yeah, COVID has really changed the dynamics of outreach and services and,
Yeah,
developing, coordinating, and making the effort to be there
right.
at all times.
Mhm.
And certainly, I'm sure that, as an essential individual, that it puts a lot of strain on your personal life as well. The
Mhm.
idea of going beyond COVID, though, COVID is going to sustain itself eventually.
Right,
And
right.
as we look at how it brought on another level of priority, there are still priorities that you had in the community and developments that are being made. Let's talk about the South Orange development area. That development that's going on, at least up and around the West Side High School area
Right.
and up near Grove Street. What
Mhm.
is that supposed to be?
Well, as you know, there was a lot of rumors that the PAP site, the old PAP site, South Orange Avenue and Grove Street, was some talk about it being a detention center, a juvenile detention center. And that was unbeknownst to me. But once I found out about it, I got involved, me and Senator Rice, Ryan Haygood of the Justice Organization, um, and we put a stop to that. Though I was already in discussions, well, with um, Newark Economic Development, we were in discussions already with a developer who owned the property for the last so many years, and they were looking to do a mixed use. So that's what's going there. They're remediating the property. It's going to be a mixed use, residential, retail, and commercial. That's what's going on that site. They have approvals for 660, 670 residential units, and it'll be retail. And I don't know if you've been by there, but anybody that's been through there will see there's a brick wall going up, a retaining wall, while they're doing the remediation. We don't want people dumping on it while doing the plans. And I have seen the plans. The plans are incredible. The housing and because part of it goes to Irvington.
Hmm.
So I included the Irvington Councilwoman, Dr. October Hudley. That's her area. Matter of fact, she lives in Irvington, right across the street from the site. So we've been working hard, and that's what's going there. It's going to be a mixed use on that
Okay.
site.
That's real good to hear. And especially the idea there's a collaboration going on and there's no mystery in relationship to how that development is being really brought to a better existence. How about the high school?
The high school is called the West Side Heights Project.
Hmm.
That's a project that originally, so many years ago, was supposed to be a part of West Side or the new West Side. It was like a $55 million project that fell by the wayside when Governor Christie was in office. That wasn't his interest to use the money. He used it for something else. But that's going to be residential. It's going to be some on the strip mall on South Orange Avenue. For those familiar, between 11th and 12th, there's going to be a high rise. I'm not sure, 8 floors or 7 floors with retail on the bottom. Around the block is going to be residential, beautiful residential homes alongside the parking lot of Westside High School. That side of the street of 12th Street is going to be beautiful residential homes. It's actually been in the planning department. Um, so we're working hard to get that done. This pandemic set everybody back,
Yeah, most definitely.
obviously. But that's what's going there also. It's going to be a project geared for professionals, though anyone, when it's built can apply. But we want to keep professionals in the city, nurses, police officers, firemen, because as you know, firemen, they're required to stay in Newark, I don't know, 1 year, 2 years, whatever it is. But we want to do qualifying homes that will want them to stay in Newark. We can't have all of our professionals moving outside the city.
Hmm.
You know, what happens, our median income in the West is so low, excuse me, in that area is like 32,000, 30,000, and you can't sustain a community. Uh, we have a business improvement district. Well, who's going to have disposable income to uh, support the businesses? We have to have, it has to be different types of income, high income. Listen, that
How are
project
you
is
going to sustain the economic development?
Mhm.
I mean, I agree with you in terms of the fact that you have to attract, and attraction is very important and key. And
Yeah.
thoroughfare, you have a number of different public transportations, and the highways are not that far away from being able to have
Right.
access. But in terms of the economic development of potential of businesses that are growing in that community,
Mhm.
how do you situate it? Because it appears as though it's difficult, to try to sustain businesses, not only down South Orange Avenue, because when you go up a little further, up near Stuyvesant, you have
Exactly.
that little cul-de-sac up there of
Right.
businesses that are trying to be unique. Is there any support to help improve them?
Yeah, well, since I've been in office, we established a Partnership West Incorporated, which is our business improvement district.
Hmm.
The West Ward was the only ward that did not have a business improvement district ever. So I worked with Unified Vailsburg and some of the other organizations, and we created it. So that was a collaboration also, and I was able to get it through the city council. So we have a $500,000 budget, though it may take a little decrease now because of the pandemic, but it's based on tax assessments, how much each business improvement district receives. The West Ward is really two business improvement districts in one. We were going to do a phase one, a phase two, but that became a little too hard to do. We would have needed two boards and all of that. So we have major people on the board: Ivy Hill Neighborhood Association, UVSO, Urban League, NCC. They all have representatives on the board. Freeholder Rufus Johnson. I am on the board, though I have a representative attending all of the meetings. That's led by Cesar Vizcaino, who's doing a fabulous job up there. But it covers 11 districts, 11 corridors. We go from Irvington all the way over to past Park Avenue, past that Kentucky Fried Chicken on Park Avenue and Fifth Street. We go a couple blocks over. We go to Third Avenue by the baseball field. So the West Ward is extremely large, and trying to be inclusive. You have different ethnic groups. Like Ivy Hill, you have Haitians moving in now amongst the black. You still have a trickling of whites. As you go across, you have Hispanics, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. So, I have to collaborate, and things just take a while. It's so big. We have over 60,000 people in the West Ward, which would qualify as probably the 10th largest city in the state. If I'm not mistaken, it's like the 10th largest city. But,
In terms of
I'm not the
population?
mayor. Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't, we're large in East Orange, Orange, we're large in all those cities. I think East Orange might have 30,000 people, or Orange, whatever they have. We have over 60,000 people in the West Ward.
And your
And
demographics is very unique
yeah,
because you have the high rises up, in part of Ivy Hill, where you are up there
right,
mixing around with Maplewood, and then inward you have the single
right,
family homes, and then you
right.
have those areas that are coming down further towards Bergen Street. Um,
Yeah.
and you also encompass the project with the Urban League.
Yeah, that was a switcher station, and I'm sure you've seen the switcher station itself, which is which is a tourist attraction now. And the old church was there for years. Reverend Leonard
Hmm.
had that whole city block, which was in despair for like 20 years. But now we have the switching station, and 4 acres is designated to the to the Urban League for a project. So working with the Urban League, me and Vivian, and always bringing the community. Anything I do, I don't just hop up and say we're going to do this over here. I have community meetings, make sure the community is in agreement. So that's a project in the works. 75 units actually behind Georgia King. That's a project we're doing with Georgia King Village and Rutgers University Hospital. It's going to be, I think, 75 units, 15 designated for the chronically medically homeless.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll have case management in those 15 units. They're going to follow them. So, we have that. I'm working on the McAvoys, which have been sitting on Roosevelt Avenue for, I don't know, 25 years vacant. And it's just a lot. Some of the things we're working on in Newark is being able to make buildings and zoning more efficient.
Mm-hmm.
It takes too long to get things built. So we lose a lot of projects to Jersey City, to Harrison, because things happen quicker. So for whatever reason that hasn't been improved, we're working on it. We had discussions with the mayor, the new director of economic development, Allison Ladd. And so we're focusing on just moving the city forward. But again, it's tough. It's tough because, we have a large city, and as you talked about the demographics. So it just takes a lot of work, a lot of focus, but we're doing it.
There's a lot of homeless people out, and there are a number of groups even now, and especially with the pandemic, a lot of feeding of folk, who really don't have, who are displaced, and many of them are displaced for obvious reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Some say that there's not enough being done for the homeless. You say what?
You know what? I actually, and it's an inside joke that I have with Mildred Crump. I told them they set me up because when I got on, they nominated me to be the chairman of the Veterans Committee, the Health Committee, and the Homeless Committee. And once I got into the position, I said, Mildred, you're real good. You set me up. Because those are real committees where you have to do a lot of work. The Homeless Committee.
That's right.
Well, we have oversight of the the homeless projects, but I don't oversee. I'm not the director of the health department, But what I can tell you about the homelessness is that we do a better job than most other cities. So the problem that we have is that cities are sending their homeless here. What New York had that, the soda program where they were giving the homeless persons, well, I like to call them persons without an address, and sending them here. And the voucher was for what, 6 months or a year. Then the people become homeless, but now they're residents of the city, entitled to all of our resources. And so we've actually seen police departments, dropping people off down Route 21 from like Denville or Succassana. Yeah, they bring their homeless here. Then in New York, they hop right on the train, they come here. I talked to a guy from New Orleans because other cities don't have the resources we have. They come here, they get an ID, they're entitled to this and that. It's just amazing. So people say, oh, the homeless situation, but it's impossible because the better we get, the more people come here. The more they're sent here, the more they volunteer to come here. So that's the problem. But we are doing the old Miller Street School. It's going to be like 300 beds, wraparound services. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that again?
The old Miller Street School is being converted into a shelter with wraparound services. That means they're going to refer them to different programs. mental health treatment, substance abuse treatment, and so that's being done currently. That's being
That's awesome.
converted into,
Yeah.
yeah, 300 beds. That's being done with Claremont Development, the city. We're all collaborating on that. So the Newark Health Department, yeah. So I'm real excited about that, and that'll put a dent and help us get a little bit of a grip on it.
And it's
But
amazing
Newark is an
because
open city.
the story that you're giving right now isn't really put out in the public that often, because you're right. There's a tremendous impact. The more you do, the better it is.
Right.
And you're not in the business of turning people down. You want to help.
Right.
But it just seems like other municipalities or other states in general, now we really want to talk, is not really giving you the assistance that you need either. Yet they're doing whatever they can to try to transition their hardship into
Right.
an area that has been doing a tremendous amount of work to change those dynamics. And that's incredible. And
Well,
you have to be applauded for that. One
well,
of the other,
the mayor's actually suing New York. They're suing New York.
yeah, I mean, I'm sure that he
Yeah.
would have to do something to restrain them from either doing what they're doing or to try to find a partnership to make it better. I mean, if
Right.
they don't have gentrification has been a real major issue, and a number of individuals feel that they're being moved out anyway, regardless of whether or not they can afford it. And then affordability is a
Let,
problem.
let, yeah. Let
Do
me
you
say
think
this.
the housing that you're talking about is going to create a gentrification aspect?
Gentrification. No, you know why I say no? Because like 1930, there was 500,000 residents in the city of Newark.
Hmm.
We're at like 280, 290. So yeah, a lot of people don't know that. We used to have 500,000 people in Newark.
So you're saying we're dropping population?
We have dropped population for especially
Incredible.
since the riots, but we have dropped population. But I did the research and look it up. It was like 500,000 people in Newark. So we have a long way to go. You see all these abandoned properties in the West Ward, the South Ward. And one thing I will tell you, I have never sponsored anybody having to move. Even with the West Side Heights project, 12th Street, 11th Street, there are a few homes there, right? So part of the program would be folks that don't want to move. If they've been there, we're going to, part of the program will be to assist them fixing up the house. Because we can have old broken down homes amongst new homes. But we're not forcing anybody to move. We're not as agreeable on that with the people who are investors. Now, if you have an investment property down there that you're not really taking care of, which there are many in the West and the South, then whatever's part of the program through the planning board or whatever, I'm not really interested in assisting them. We're interested in helping people who have to move, find a spot. Mm-hmm. But nobody's had to move. Anything that I've supported to be built, nobody was there. You have all these empty lots. I think it was 450 empty lots in the West. So people build homes. They get approval where they can buy 5 homes, or fix them up, or build them. And nobody has to move. So gentrification, we understand that, but the model was Brooklyn, and we're not Brooklyn or Harlem. We have more hands-on, and we're following the lead of the mayor. We're not going to let that happen, but you have to have people who make more money, that's more upwardly mobile. You just can't run a city with mostly or a lot of poor people. We make arrangements for them, like well, that's why we did that law. If you're over 20 units, you have to do, or 30 units, you have to do 20% affordable housing. That's any project. So if it's 100 units, you got to do, 20 units has to be affordable housing. You know what I mean? So we take that into consideration. We're not going to be gentrified. I've been here my whole life. Grew up on Hillside Avenue. Went to Belmont Runyon, Clinton Place, Shabazz. Went to started school in Essex County. So I've been here all my life.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm not going to see this city gentrified, but I understand that we need people with more disposable income.
When you look at the idea, for the Palm Street Block Association, you have a number of very powerful organizations out
Right,
in your community area,
right,
and there was that the issue of the seniors not having the kind of support that they needed to continue to keep their social network involved. And now you have the facility over in West Side Park. Excuse me, not West Side Park, but the park,
Vailsburg Park,
the Vailsburg Park.
and
But
Boylan Street Rec Center. We have a senior center.
okay, so in terms of the seniors,
Hmm.
how is that now? Because you have a very large senior population as well.
Right.
In fact, you do have a few senior buildings in your area.
Yeah.
How is it? Is it growing, or are there any other plans about seniors?
Well, we're always trying to come up with the programming for seniors. That's why we put the center in Boylan. Vailsburg Park is they're pretty much a conservancy, the Palm Street Block Association. So we assist them where we can. There was talk about combining, but sometimes the city wants to stay separate, the county wants to stay separate. Who would control it? So we're letting it be as it is now. But they call all the organizations call me at some point. So I have a foundation. We try to assist them. I do my senior ball every year. This year I was going to actually do it in Vailsburg Park, called like a senior cookout. So the next event I have will be in Vailsburg Park. Whereas the last 3 or 4 years I was doing a dance. It would be like a ball where they could get dressed up and come. They could win TVs, and we have the band and the mayor comes and we all just have a good time. But I wanted to bring it up to the West. There was no facility in the West to do it before. So I did it at the Robert Treat Hotel. The last year I did it at the Mediterranean Manor down on Jefferson. But I want to bring it to the West, and we can do it in the park, ideally. So, but I'm constantly in touch with St. Mary's Villa. I was talking to them today. Tomorrow I'm at 545 to Senior Building to do the testing. We have cookouts over there, and every so often I do a bus ride to Atlantic City, and everything I do is free. I raise the money through different sponsors, and I do free events.
Supportive events.
Supportive events. Yeah, we never charge for any event. You come, it's free. Everything, the meal, everything is always free.
And it's really to create that social network because people want to feel like they belong.
Yeah, you have to get them out. Yeah, and I'm a senior too myself, Herbert. So
Me too.
yeah, you know what I mean? So I had to take care of my peeps, man. Can't have them sitting in the house, But I love my fellow seniors, and we do our best, man. It's tough. And it's tough for me because I have to collaborate. First of all, if somebody wants to do something in West Ward, they're going to call me.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like really having to be in development meetings. Like, I want to be where they have to call me and get my approval if it's something that they want to build. But I don't want to have to be going and going to these meetings and then going to economic development. It takes a lot of my time, but it's out of necessity that I have to do it if I want things to be built. Because you have to go to the zoning board, the planning board. Then the developers are losing money because nothing's happening. And you know what I mean? They purchased the property, being charged taxes, and nothing's happening. You have to wait 6-7 months to get on the zoning board to get on the agenda. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But in the meantime, you're paying taxes, Then after that, it takes, water permit to do the water. Everything is a permit. So it's just tough, but I have to be hands-on just to push things through.
You have a number of different religious institutions. Mine, for one, the
Mhm.
Memorial West Presbyterian Church. I have to get used to that,
Mhm.
being an old Baptist guy. And the leadership that you have under Bishop Rudy Carlton,
Yeah.
how is that effective for you?
Let me tell you, our clergy alliance up here in the West Ward, I don't know about the other wards, but it's fantastic. It was on Dr. Harris, Dr. Bridgeforth, Rudy Carlton, uh, Pastor Williams over there on 12th Avenue, Bohannon, and my main man, Pastor Clegg, down here on 12th Street and 13th Avenue. He's always out there. Uh, Matter of fact, he donated mass today. He's donating mass where we give out at the testing site today. We have masks up there given out, and it just it makes me tearful sometimes. We have some of the best people, yourself, that are really interested in really assisting the community. Matter of fact, it overwhelms me. I'm like, Dr. Hill, Diane Hill from Rutgers, she calls me like mostly every day when somebody contacts her and she wants me to collaborate with them. I'm like, Dr. Hill, you know, one of my aides is on quarantine. He had it. The other one, we had death.
Wow.
And I'm working. Listen, I hadn't been out of the house almost 2 months because I have asthma. So the last thing I wanted to do was catch this,
Right.
and not be able to breathe. So, I worked from home, but the last 2 weeks, just put my mask on, my gloves, and be safe, keep my social distancing. But it's tough being out here. You can't be out here because once you get it, like I told Mildred is like, she's coming out a little bit more now. But me and Mildred had discussions. I was like, Mildred, I'm not going out there. And she said, I'm not either. But now we see, and you can socially distance, and I have to go out, especially with me having a ward. These seniors, we're dropping off food. Tomorrow we'll be out there dropping off food to their doors, dropping on their porch. And some seniors can't get out of the house. They're scared, and some just won't come out of the house. And I get phone calls and take them food. Just the other day, my daughter went shopping and bought food out of her pocket, meats and canned goods, and we took it to one of the residents down by 9th Street. So I'm not gonna see somebody hungry. So if I'm home, and I get calls, I make sure me and myself and my staff we drop food off. And I don't have a budget for that,
Mm.
but I do have a foundation, and we do what we have to do. But it gets tough. But I wasn't the first councilman. They did it. I'll do it too.
It's amazing though. But again, you're put into like almost a box, and the box isn't big enough, or it's like taking. I remember laughing at why do they put a round pizza in a square box?
Good point.
And a lot of times you try to figure that one out, but it
Yeah.
fits for some odd reason. In terms of health and wellness, and knowing that you're an avid coach, and so am I. As you know, that I'm a coach with tennis, and
Right, right, right.
one of the sports that has been given an opportunity to really work because of the social distancing has been tennis. But I'm a little reserved in wanting to go out and take advantage of the opportunity because most of the tennis courts are in the county parks. But the mayor really doesn't want any kind of recreation going on at this time, caught between a rock and a hard place.
Right.
Where do we go with this kind of situation? Patience is definitely evident. We want to make sure that we don't put out the wrong kind of message. But being a
Right.
member of the USTA, we're anxious that we want to get out, and they're asking me to get in touch with my elected officials to
Mhm.
see what we can do to improve this situation, you say?
Well, every day we have a conference call, the mayor, the council, the BA, every day, 4 o'clock. And we discuss these things. So, we take the lead the mayor takes the lead from the governor, though we do make some adjustments to whatever the government say, well, whatever the governor says. The mayor will run it by the governor's office when we want to do something different. Um, we take the lead from the mayor. Tennis, I don't really see the problem with tennis except that we want to keep people home. The other day we had one death. One day we had none. When this started, we would have 25, 30, 35 deaths every day. Yesterday we had like maybe 30 new cases and one death. So we're just erring on the side of caution. And everybody's frustrated, but we just can't have these people out here not socially distancing and catching it and giving it to people and people dying. It's more based in the safety of our residents than economics right now. It's a fine balance, but I mean, in Newark, when somebody dies, I take it personal. We all do. When I look and I see somebody got shot the other day, got stabbed on South Munn, and somebody came back, retribution shot him. And, you can't help but take that personally. So I don't know, man. I just feel like people are my family. I don't want to see anybody dying. So we have to stay in the house a little longer or follow the precautions that are set. I'd rather just do that because it's just too much, and people having funerals and let me see, 5 people could go in Newark. Outside of Newark, maybe 10 people. Uh, my ex-wife just got buried. Well, they had the ceremony Saturday. She had been in the funeral home for um, 3 weeks. You know what I mean? She didn't die from COVID, but is affected because they couldn't go in the hospital to visit her because of COVID. You know what I'm saying? So we got to be very careful because if you get it, nobody can visit you. And if you're in the hospital by yourself, or if you're in there for anything else, no one can visit you. So that's the issue. So the mayor is very passionate about it, as are all of my colleagues. But that's serious business, man. So I don't know about starting a program now. We want to keep people in the house as much as we can. Go out and get some air. I don't really see a problem with tennis, but then they'll be wanting to pull, why tennis, not basketball? Or why not soccer? You know what I mean? And so, that's the reason for that. So we take the lead from the mayor, and he doesn't do anything without research or without the data, the science, So,
Wow. Well, I'm hoping that we do find some kind of medium. And I would certainly love to invite you to come out and be one of the supporters of it. But
absolutely.
I certainly know that if in order for us to do that, we want to have everybody on the right page. And I think the effort that is improving, the social relationships of contact tracing and
Mhm.
getting people tested. Now you have 2 sites in the Westport now,
Uh,
Berlin Street and
yeah, on Boiler Street School and up on Irvington Avenue at the UVSO preschool. It's right up past the Dunkin' Donuts and the strip mall. The strip mall where the supermarket is in there. What is that, City something? And it's right up. So it's a nice setup. Dr. Salerno is doing it, him and his staff. And they also are set up in Orange, I believe. That's where they came to me after they set up in Orange, had such a good reception. And they asked me about coming to the West Ward to do it. So I worked and worked and put it together with the community organizations, and it's up there. So they're doing antibody testing. They're doing the swab and I think the tongue swab or the nasal swab. Very good organization up there. Um, yeah, I just left there. A lot of chairs outside. They have snacks. You
And at
know,
no cost.
no cost.
And I don't have to be sick to be
No,
able to get the service.
right. Just walk in. Bring your. If you have an insurance card, bring it. If you don't, then bring your social security card.
But what about if I live in Irvington?
You could come from anywhere.
That's great news to hear.
We're doing anywhere. See, the city sites like Borland is for Newarkers because Newark would be reimbursed by the state.
Mhm.
But this program up here is for anyone. Yeah, Dr. Sonos, yeah. So you just walk up, go in. You have to fill out a couple papers. They help you with that. And then you go in and do your test and you're out. Grab you a snack or water, coffee, and hit the road. Yeah.
Well, listen, you are a superhero, and we're very proud of you. For you to have the courage and the ability to want to do for others, and knowing that you are putting your life on the line is so important that people appreciate that and understand the quality of person that you are, even before COVID, even before you were a councilman.
Mhm.
You're good people, my brother. I appreciate you very much.
Well, I really appreciate it. I know, I always strive every day to be better the next day. Some days are rougher, but I put a lot of work in over these years. A lot of work. I've been volunteering and working since I was 13. Most of it public service, from the service to working with veterans on drugs or domestic stuff. Yeah. Then I ran a mental health, which I'm proud of, a MICA program down on Washington Park, up in the Veterans Building. Ran a day treatment for mentally ill veterans. Well, mentally ill MICA patients, mentally ill chemical abusers. I did that for like 5 years as a therapist. And so I left there to go to the city, but I'm proud of that. And I still see my vets now everywhere, the supermarket. Oh, Joe, I remember you from when you used to come to VA, because I volunteered there 25 years till I became the counselor. I was working there and volunteering. Like I would do groups. And them guys remember me, and I tell you, it's very satisfying.
Well, listen, this is the Image Profile Report, and I'm very happy that I got an opportunity to be able to share this with our viewers, and we hope that we will have more opportunities as we move forward in partnering together and doing some positive things in the community.
Anytime. And we will work on that test program, whatever you need from me, a donation or whatever you need. And let me just add, the mayor, we are adding and opening up gradually. Like every 2 weeks, we revisit it and see where you're going to open up. So eventually, I don't see a problem with the tenants in the next few weeks. You know
That's
what I mean?
news.
Yeah, we're opening up. So, and let me just let your listeners know that what we open is based in if we're meeting the data requirements. How many positives, how many deaths. So if we're at 30 positives and 1 death, it's just a matter of time before we open, even at some point, the hair salons, which will probably be at the end because people are catching it and taking it home in the hair salons, so. But other than that, I'm with you. I look forward to your program. I think we need to exercise. I need the exercise. That's the bad part of the pandemic. You're home, but no exercise. What you can do in the house,
but it's good to know that you guys are being strategic and
very strategic.
The whole organization of the elected officials in Newark is really doing a really, really profound job, and we want to applaud them all. And hopefully, I'll get a chance to speak to some of your other colleagues. But I'm just very happy that you allowed me to eliminate the red tape, and
Yeah, yeah.
you
Well,
just
anytime. All you gotta do is
yeah.
call, and I might be 1 or 2 minutes late, but I'll be there.
Hey, well, we'll definitely be waiting for you. Thank you
Okay.
so much. All right.
Thanks, Herb.
All
Talk
right.
to you. All righty.
All right. I'll
Bye-bye.
talk to you soon.
Okay.
Thanks again.
All right.
That was Councilman Joe McCallum from the West Ward of Newark. We will be continuing our opportunity to do one-on-ones with individuals in our community. And if there's someone in your community that you would like for us to do a one-on-one with, you can call me at 973-980-6441 or drop a note in my website, herbglenn.com. See me on Facebook, the Image Profile Report. And you can definitely catch me on the Channel 19 on Monday evenings at 8 o'clock on the cable network in Newark, New Jersey. Have a good day, everyone, and enjoy the rest of this beautiful afternoon.